On today's show,
we discuss Zion's blown-out shoe, the Pelicans saying AD will play, and an activated LeBron.
inspired by the upcoming Oscars, we hand out awards for the NBA's Best Picture, costume design, and visual effects.
And Dirk and Luca steal the show in a brand new edition of the Meme Team.
It's Thursday, February 21st. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey. I'm J.E. Skeets, alongside me as always, Tass Mellis. We got the Aussie, Lee Ellis, and over yonder, well, that's the bearded one, that's Trey Kirby.
Hey-yo!
Hey-yo! TK, what's up?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag The Starters, and if you missed yesterday's show, go find it on YouTube, because our main mate Lee Ellis had a classic pick'em payoff, getting cut and styled by Kadir, and the reveal? Whoa! Anybody seen the leprechaun say, hey? Lee, you are a good sport, but here is where you at home come in. We need you to hop on Twitter and send us your best Lee Ellis haircut pictures, photoshops, memes, whatever. We've got some already, like Kyle Bullock, who sent in the Harry Potter Professor Quirrell Voldemort head, then upped the ante by putting Voldemort's head onto Lee, asking what's worse. I think it's this one. We also got something great from Brad Spencer, who threw Lee's head on the Dumb and Dumber poster and tweeted, Austria, well then, good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the Barbie. But me personally, I think Lee's head looked like that famous painting, The Scream, which is coincidentally what I want to do when I first saw that haircut. But we got to hear from you, so hit us up on Twitter with your best Lee Ellis haircut pictures. Get busy in the Photoshop. Be a Photoshop boy and send them to us at hashtag The Starters. We'll see the best ones later.
Well, we got to ask, Lee,
Yeah.
do you still have that yourself in the back of your head? What'd you do? Is there...
Listen, I'll spin around for you. You can check it out yourself. What do you think?
Oh, looking real nice.
I got Kadir actually to clean it up, so
Okay.
you know.
So you didn't want to take that home?
Well, I didn't want to scare my two boys, really.
Yeah.
Whether that was the big thing. I mean, you know, when I go in for bedtime and book reading, I don't really want them to have to look at that. It might give them nightmares. So.
All right, fair enough. All right, we got a fun one tonight. We're going to hand out some NBA movie awards. We got a new meme team, but let's start with a little Is This News? Trey has rounded up some of today's NBA headlines. He's going to pitch them to us like he's Satchel Paige, and we'll determine whether or not they're actually newsworthy. Trey.
Our first headline is from the Charlotte Observer, and it says, NBA players urge Zion Williamson to shut it down after a bizarre injury during last night's UNC game. Is this news?
I don't think it's news.
No?
Nothing really changes. NCAA players aren't going to start getting paid all of a sudden because NBA players said, hey, you should shut it down. He's still going to go number one when he declares. He's still going to be a Nike man, even though his Nike shoe blew out. Nothing's going to change. The only question is he going to sit out?
Right.
And I don't think he is. He's a team man. By all accounts, he wants to play with this guy.
He wants to try and win a national championship with his teammates.
Yeah, I think he just loves his Duke teammates. I think it's as simple as that. I don't think he's going anywhere as soon as he's declared healthy.
But you can understand why people are saying, and the NBA players, a lot of them included,
course.
saying, well, look, you've got nothing left to prove. Don't risk,
100%.
hurting your knee anymore. And look, we're hearing it's a mild knee sprain and the knee is stable. That's all good news. It's, like this isn't season-ending, career-ending, anything like that. But players are saying, look, don't risk it. You know you're going number one, very, very likely if you declare for the draft. Like, just don't go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his decision ultimately, you're right. But what would you do if you were in his shoes? Or his one shoe, I guess, now.
It probably won't really affect his career long term because he's 18, and even if it is a more significant injury, the teams will still take a risk on him.
Right.
But the difference here between something like this and, say, an Anthony Davis situation is he's never been paid.
Yeah.
And this could affect his payday in some way down the line. So if I was him, his career is in the NBA. He may as well be done with college. He doesn't need to go out there and continue to play.
Yep.
So if I'm him, I just sit it out for the rest of the season. Again, he talked about his college, so he wanted this experience. He said even if you didn't have to do a one and done, he wanted to play college. You know what? He's played it. He's got the experience. He's proven how good he is. Take the rest of the season off and just be ready for June's draft.
Yeah. And he has benefited greatly from playing this much. He has grown his brand, his star, a lot since he's come in.
Duke and NCAA have also benefited
course
greatly,
they do,
probably a whole lot more when it comes to the dollar.
Because the thing is as well, him saying like, you know what, I wanted this experience, that's fine. That's what an 18-year-old kid would say. I think he's going to look back at this though in only 3 or 4 years and say, you know what, I probably should have sat out. if he chooses to continue
What
playing.
about the tournament, though, Lee? He's only going to get one chance ever to win an NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's true, but you know what? Who cares? That's nothing in the grand scheme of things for what his career in the NBA is likely to be in. I mean, like college success, great if you win it, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to the NBA, and he's going to be a star in the NBA.
All right, Trey, our next headline.
Next headline is from Pro Basketball Talk, and it reads, the Pelicans are going to play Anthony Davis against the Pacers tomorrow. Is this news?
Oh my goodness! How many times are we going to talk about this Anthony Davis
Every
Pelicans
game.
thing? I mean, yeah, I guess this is news where it shocked a lot of people. We thought maybe
Why?
after the All-Star break, maybe they come up with something. He's got the shoulder injury before the All-Star break. Maybe they sort of massage that and stretch that out, and he doesn't play. But here he is. He's going to play on
But he
Friday
played
on
in
the
the
road.
All-Star game. He
Yeah.
played in the 4 games before the All-Star game. It would be fantastic news if they did shut him down, but they decided beforehand, after the trade deadline, that no, we're going to play him, and we might win some, we might lose some. They actually won a very tough game against the against the Thunder, with him playing only
Before the
16
break, yeah.
minutes. Who the heck knows with this team? Sometimes they can come out and play when he doesn't play a lot of minutes and get a W. Unfortunately for them, there's no benefit to playing him at all.
Right.
There really isn't. They should be sitting him down, but they showed that they're going to abide by the NBA's wishes and say, yeah, he can play. He's not going to play every single game, that's for sure.
Right,
He's
'cause
going to sit
there's
out back to back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's going to play on Friday night versus the Pacers. They do play the Lakers on Saturday, and then the Pelicans have a couple nationally televised games coming up next week. Will he play in those? Because will the NBA want him in those games? That's where people would be tuning in to see him and the drama that surrounds that.
But
It's interesting.
It's odd because he doesn't play his full minutes.
Yeah.
Even when he does play. He played 16 minutes against OKC, and it's odd also because it doesn't affect tanking, because sometimes they win with him playing a little,
Yeah.
sometimes they don't. It doesn't really affect anything.
But if he is going to play, then he has to play hard. And he can't
Yeah.
play like he did in a couple of those games after the trade deadline where he kind of mailed it in. So if he wants to play and he's going to play, then play as properly and as hard as you can. Otherwise, he may as well sit down, because that doesn't help anyone when he goes out there and he's kind of just going half mileage at it, because we saw when he only scored 3 points in that game. You're better off just sitting down if you're gonna behave like that while you're playing, because he's a good player. The team can win. I mean, he's a dominant player, but if he's not going to try hard and play hard, then he may as well not play.
Trey, our final headline.
All right, our final headline is from ESPN. LeBron James is set to step up his intensity for a playoff push, saying that it's been activated. Is this news?
This part is not news, LeBron saying this. I am curious, is he going to go whole like zero dark 30-23 earlier than he normally does? Because he usually saves that for the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what he does with social media and whether he shuts that off. But we talked about it yesterday. This really is like the playoffs start now for LeBron and the Lakers to get in there and try and even get above the 8 seed. You don't want the 8 seed if you're going to be playing the Warriors in the first round in the West. You want to get higher than that, and maybe then you could talk yourself into surprising a team like the Nuggets or whoever that maybe don't have a whole bunch of playoff experience. But I want to know, yeah, LeBron's activated. Is everybody else on his squad activated? That's all it comes down to me. Are these guys locked in? Are they going to play a little defense? And now that the trade deadline and all the drama with the AD news is over, can they lock in as they've talked about? LeBron's going to be LeBron. What about these other guys?
They look like it in that first game against the Celtics. They seem to brush it all off. But I'm really interested to see if LeBron still has that ability to drag a team. You know, you're talking about 8th going to 7th or 6th, because he's still great. But he's not probably as good as he was a couple of years ago, and this injury did slow him down. So
Yeah.
will that injury affect him in any way, and will he still be the player he's taken worse teams much further in his days in Cleveland. Now he's got a reasonable team compared to some of those other teams. How much has he still got in the tank to drive basically 25 games? He has to play. He can't take any games off.
Yeah.
And he knows the urgency is there right now, because he's talking about that activation. That means he's like, okay, we haven't got any time to lose here. We've got to go for it. So can he still do it? Probably, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, he's got 2 speeds. He kind of puts it in chill mode sometimes,
Oh,
as he
absolutely.
has done earlier this season. I found it interesting to say that this is a little bit earlier for me to put it
Yeah.
into 5th gear. Players don't really come out and say that, hey, I kind of chill sometimes through games 60 and 70. I think he's going to destroy. And if you're his teammates, you have to step up. The best player in the world saying, we're going for it. They have to step up and get into 5th gear along with him. It's going to be hard because the schedule is pretty tough.
Yep.
But as we always say, if you're going to bet on one guy in a playoff series, out of all the 450 players, you're still going to bet on LeBron. 25 games is longer than a playoff series, so it is going to be tough. I don't think he's going to be gassed by any means. He knows how deal with his body, and he knows it's unlikely he's going to have a long playoff run too.
Yeah, but again, he's not going to be playing all 48 minutes in all these games. There are going to be 12, 15 minutes where LeBron is just not out there. Can Brandon Ingram, can whoever's out there leading that second unit keep the Lakers in these games for LeBron to take over and hopefully get the win? This is going to be a fascinating experiment to watch here because the playoffs really have started now for this squad. All right, we got lots more still to come on the show tonight. When we come back, we're going to debate who deserves best costume design in the NBA. Yeah, it's awards season after all, and we'll give some out. Don't go anywhere.
The Starters is presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey.
Inspired by this weekend's Oscars, we've decided to hand out some shiny new hardware in our very own NBA Movie Awards. So give it up for our host, who, if he does well enough tonight, might get the actual gig on Sunday, Trey Kirby. TK.
All right, our first category is looking at arrival outfits for best costume design. The nominees: James Harden in his snakeskin print short suit, Damian Lillard rocking a Lillard time Flavor Flav clock around the neck, Russell Westbrook going blue collar in a construction worker vest, or DeLon Wright's throwback Thursday gigantic suit. Guys, those are the nominees. But who is your winner for best costume design?
You're missing a fifth nominee, Lee Ellis, in this shirt tonight.
yeah.
Get a look at this, Mr. Koya.
The intensity has been activated.
Hey, listen, I knew we were handing out awards. I want to look my best.
Okay,
you know?
well, that's fascinating. I swear that's not a pick and payoff, no doubt. All right, who do you like in this costume design? What do you
All
got?
great stuff. I have to disqualify Damian Lillard because I think it's more of an accessory. I'm looking for a whole fit.
Right.
I disqualified DeLon Wright because that thing is not in fashion now. It's too old.
And it's part of a marketing campaign with Snickers we learned after, too, the comically oversized suit. Okay, so that's fair. So what do you got? That's
I'm torn
down to 2.
between Russ and James Harden. I go James Harden. I mean, that is fashion.
Just because of the shorts?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen guys do this before, but is it...
He's pulling it all off, though. I think head to toe. It's a little leggy, just enough.
That's a lot leggy.
Yeah, I'm definitely in on the shorts. I mean, shorts and a suit. It's perfect. It's perfect. That's what I would definitely wear to an award show, you know, in summer. Like, it's great. It's stylish, yet comfortable.
I
Perfect.
like Westbrook. He's already done, I guess he had like the Olympic photographer vest once. Now he's got the construction. I don't know what
It
is
is good.
next.
It's very good.
But Trey, let's go to him to find out the winner here. I can't wait.
And the winner is James Harden's
Oh,
shorts suit.
Okay.
You guys nailed it. Those weren't just shorts. Those were shorts. What a look. Almost looked like he was in pajamas. But our next category, best visual effects. Craziest play of the season. The nominees: Kawhi Leonard's no-look steal against the Timberwolves, just diving out there and grabbing it on a pass to Jimmy Butler. Kyrie Irving, our next nominee, going off his knee to shake Juancho Hernangomez. Got the and one finish at the rim as well. Just a little boop right there off the knee. See ya, Juancho. James Harden's super step back against the Jazz.
Oh, come on.
What? It's just 4 steps. Skates that was legal,
I need to
not
talk to
a
the
travel.
Academy.
Final nominee is Troy Williams, pump faking not 1, not 2,
Whoa.
but 3 Timberwolves with a single pump fake. It's a pump fake party, and everybody's invited. Guys,
Nice.
you've seen the nominees. Now pick a winner for best visual effects.
I'm going with Kyrie Irving because of what he did at high speed.
Did he mean to,
Yes,
though?
he did. Of course he did.
Did he mean to
Of
go
course
up
he
the knee,
did,
or did he
because he
sort of
remains
fumble
in
it?
control. It was like a stutter step, loses his defender, and then he goes in with the incredible finish with his offhand. Look at that. I mean,
Okay.
that is just remarkable. I have never really seen anything like that in an NBA game before, where a guy just actually dribbles it off himself, maintains control, and then has the gorgeous finish afterwards, switching hands. He gets the legs out. He's beautiful. I think that's fantastic.
I think we've seen a lot of things more similar to what Kyrie did on a basketball floor, but that's why my vote goes for Kawhi Leonard. I don't ever remember seeing a steal where the guy was not looking. He had his back turned to the play. He was asked about it. He said, yeah, I didn't know. I just had a feeling they were maybe going to be throwing a bounce pass, so I just put my big old claw out there, dove, and got it. We've watched a lot of basketball, Lee.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
never seen that before.
No,
It happened a long time ago, I get, this regular season, back in October,
the thing is
but
with that,
that's memorable.
It looks like the ball is a small ball in his hand.
Yeah, it looks like a little grapefruit or something.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you
We
go?
want to talk about things that you've never seen before. How about James Harden getting away
I see that every game. I see that every game.
He
with
doesn't
James
get
Harden.
away. He doesn't get away with a four-stepper.
Yeah, no, he draws a foul is what he does.
This one garnered more conversation than all of yours combined.
Yeah, not for the wrong reasons. For the wrong reasons.
What a visual effect. He fooled everybody.
All right. Okay. What's the answer, Trey?
And the winner is, oh wow, bit of an upset here. 3 guys pump faked.
Wow.
The
That's a
other
good
2
one.
nominees, you weren't sure if they were on purpose. One of them wasn't legal. Troy Williams at least meant to do that pump fake, so he's your winner. Our final category, however, is Best Picture, literally the best picture from this NBA season. The nominees, Steven Adams' head turning into a basketball. The Bat Yodi saving San Antonio. 4'11" Kristen Chenoweth meeting 7'3" Boban Marjanovic, and LeBron James all by himself at the end of the Lakers bench. Guys, those are your nominees. But who's the winner for Best Picture?
Wow. Where do you go?
I've got a bias towards Boban.
Okay.
Because every photo he's in is it's always comical. And this one, when he met someone who was literally half his size, I mean, it looks totally photoshopped, even though we know how gigantic he is. But it's just a beautiful shot of Boban. And I mean, he could have been in more of these photos as well. Could have been nominated several times. So I'm going with Boban.
I'm going with the Steven Adams shot. That's one, like a soccer ball to the face. That's going to be passed around forever. It's one of those that's not going anywhere. It's going to have a longer lifespan, I think, than everything else.
I mean, I want to go with the LeBron one just because, of the timing of that photo. It was the 42-point loss to the Pacers. That was right around the trade deadline there. Oh, he's sitting away from them because all these guys are going to be traded. But I ultimately don't go with it because, there's been a lot of crack investigations about this photo and what truly was happening. There was a weird sub and Rondo had moved down and all that. So I'm ultimately going to go with the Steven Adams as well, though the Boban's great. Trey, the winner of this Best Picture.
And the winner is Best Picture goes to Steven Adams' ball face. Like Tass said, it's gonna last for a long time. A guy's head turned into a basketball. Amazing.
Let's hear if you agree or disagree with Trey's winners there. When we come back, though, we got a brand new addition to the meme team, and Dirk and Luka steal the show in this one. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to The Starters. Every week we scour the internet to bring you the meme team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the NBA universe.
At number 5, the Sacramento Kings were feeling Valentine's Day. They handed out some love to the other 29 teams on Twitter, all 29 of them. They start off with the Celtics. You shamrock. The Raptors, we think you're dynamite. The Pels, we buddy love you. Thanks for Buddy Hield. Thank you very much. Cavs, you're cool in 2016. Ouch.
Yes.
And the Lakers, heartbroken by 2002, of course.
Inspired by the epic failure known as the Fire Festival, Inside the NBA showed us a look at what really goes down at Kenny Smith's party.
An all-star party hosted by a guy who was never an all-star, not even an injury replacement.
2 days before the party, there were still thousands of tickets available.
He can convince anyone of pretty much anything.
We're gonna have the elephants flying through the room, everything.
He just wouldn't take no for an answer. We need to get the word out that Chuck and Shaq are not coming anywhere near this party.
I would never go to this party.
Now you get this experience, a Kenny Smith All-Star experience.
Oh my God!
Yeah, save yourself mode just kicked in and people started looking for better parties.
Open bar? More like open your wallet, pull out your cash, and pay bar.
Kenny's party.
This is a vision that I never thought would be.
Probably the worst time of my life.
How'd they do Kenny like that?
They couldn't find a better oh my God, I guess. At number 3, Anthony Hamilton put on a real smooth, understated version of the national anthem at the All-Star game. But his guitarist at the end, on the right here, is a little perplexed. What's going on?
That's a weird ending. Anthony, what are we doing?
That's the ending?
A lot of tweets came flying in. Anthony Hamilton's guitar player was not pleased with the improv at the end of the song. The dude behind Anthony Hamilton's like, that's not what we rehearsed. This guy just got to the point. Anthony Hamilton must have farted.
Okay. At number 2, Dirk and Luka play Name That Tune in a very funny in-arena video at All-Star game.
Diddle-ding.
Way downtown. I know the song. I just don't know the name.
Diddle-ding-ding.
Oh! I know that song.
Yes.
I don't know the name. Hey! The love song. Love song. I have no idea what this name of this song is. Hey. Is that Wham? Wham! No, I had a verse. All for one, I swear. 90s is, you're too young for that. You were 50 when you was 90. Yo, I don't know. He doesn't know all these. He's born in 2000.
At number 1, just slightly better than Name That Tune, it's the Whisper Challenge with the same duo.
Mike Krzyzewski. Mushrooms, something. This is why we play. Bulle Bulle. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Ham and cheese sandwich. How much time I need? No? I am a little teapot. I'm licking a teapot.
Oh, great work there from Dirk and Luca. When we come back, we will show our favorite Photoshops of the back of Lee's head from yesterday's show.
Bring it back, Lee.
Basketball is back, baby.
It's back.
There you go. Tonight on TNT, Celtics Bucks, followed by the Rockets Lakers. Great doubleheader to come back to. Can't wait for that. All right, we asked you. Send in your best Lee haircut pics, Photoshop memes, tweets, whatever. You did so at #TheStars. What do you got, Trey?
Yeah, I got some funny ones. Frazier turned into Wilson. Wilson! That's not bad. I also like this. Mr. Bean's Whistler's mother on the back of their head from Connor. Not bad. Matthew says it's the Babadook. I'll never sleep again.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. Here's one where Skeet's illustration got switched for Lee's illustration. The Myth Addict says he's seeing Lee Ellis everywhere now. And in fact, it is memeception.
Oh, wow.
You've done a lot of weird stuff.
Great work.
Twice with hair.
Tonight's pick 'em play. Wow, interesting. Rockets at Lakers. That's the second game on TNT. Taz the only one taking the Lakers. He's buying into LeBron.
I mean, I'm not going to have any hair left on my body.
Yeah, that's true. Tomorrow's Friday. We got the Drop Podcast. Get your questions in right now. #TheStarters or email us thestarters@nba.com. I think we have some time, finally, for some fan signs.
All right, this is going back to last season. No, it's not. This is Rob. My brother hand-forged this genuine, authentic starter sign. Please put this in the show so he will shut up. We did, finally. This is Swayze at the quarterfinals of the 30th Dubai International Championship.
Wow, shout out to my buddy Gresh. How'd you get those tickets?
This is Josh who says, good evening, Skeets World. This one's just for you, Skeets.
That might be the greatest sign we've ever had on this show. Very, very nice.
Embrace the night, people.
Ooh, that's
this
good.
is David, Megan, and Zach. They watch the show every night in Melbourne, Australia. Give us a wedgie. We need one, that's true.
Yep.
And this is Jake. We don't have a fan sign, and we aren't at a game, but we love the starters. And they're wearing starters t-shirts. Close enough is good enough, if you ask me.
Excellent stuff, guys. As we say goodnight here, I want to show you a few pictures from our All-Star Saturday night watch party. This is from the photo booth. That's why it's very confusing. They weren't here. But thanks to everyone that came out on Saturday night. We had a blast. We'll have to do it again, maybe in Chicago.
It looks like they're really here.
Yeah.